Hey guys, I'm so excited to be back here with you all today. My name is Carrie, and I am one of the students from Fontbonne University, and I'm studying to be a dietitian. So, what that means is whenever I'm done with school, as a member of your community, I'll be able to be a source of information and knowledge for everybody about food, foods that make us healthy, foods that would be a great choice for us maybe if we're sick, foods to choose to avoid being sick, as well as when we determine what those foods are, how to prepare those foods for ourselves and for our families. So, what we're going to do today is wrap up our series on macronutrients. So, in previous lessons, we have gone over carbohydrates, protein, and lastly, today we're going to touch on fats and what those fats are and where they come from. In addition to information about fats, the benefits they have for our body, and those food sources, we are going to touch on water. So we all know what water is, but we're going to focus on how water benefits our bodies and how, in the addition to the macronutrients, water can help us achieve overall health. All right, so who can tell me what they know about fats? Yeah, so we can find fats in food. We need fats to survive. Now, back to the food, who can tell me what foods but we can find fat in? Yeah, so based off this picture here, you see that we can find fats in oils, avocado, maybe nuts and seeds, different type of proteins like fish or even beef. So what exactly is a fat? So fats are made up of fatty acids, which are tiny little components that make up the overall macronutrient of fat. And its main function for our bodies is long-term energy storage. Whereas we get energy from other sources, but if we need extra energy or need to rely on energy elsewhere, fat can be a great option for that. And you'll find it in different forms. Two of those forms are going to be animal fats and plant oils. So in animal fats, you'll notice like eggs and butter and even salmon here. At room temperature, it's more of a solid texture. Whereas in our plant oils like avocado oil or olive oil, at room temperature, they're going to be more of a liquid. So what does fat do for our body? So we get fat through energy as calories. So as we consume calories throughout the day, some of those calories are going to be from fat found in foods. It's going to protect our organs. It supplies heat and regulates our body temperature. It helps us feel fuller for longer. So foods that have a higher fat content, we may be more satisfied earlier in a meal than normal. It's going to add flavor and texture to our foods. So let's think of a croissant, for example. So if you've ever had one of those, you'll notice that buttery flavor and even that flaky texture. Well, butter, which is a source of fat, is one of the main ingredients in that type of food. So we get great flavor and texture from fats. It's also going to help with our brain function as well as our hormone function. And then fat, where is it stored in our bodies? So we know how it benefits us, but where can we find it? So we can find fat under our skin. So kind of feeling on your body there, underneath our skin, we would find fat. And what that's going to do is help keep us warm. It's also going to help protect those vital organs, particularly in our abdominal area, as well as towards the backside, which is going to help protect our kidneys, which is really important. We will also find fat in our liver as well as in our muscles here. So we know where fat is in our body, but how does it benefit our body? So healthy fats. There's different types of fats, particularly healthy fats are going to help with our body growing. It's going to help contribute to brain function. It helps absorb vitamins in our bloodstream, particularly vitamin A, E, D, and K. heart-healthy fats. Not to get those mixed up with other types of fats, but our heart-healthy fats do not contribute to heart disease, and they help unclog our blood vessels to ensure that our blood flow is successful throughout our body. And it's also, again, going to help insulate our body and protect our organs. And a fun fact for you guys here. So our brains are made up of 60% fat. So our brain is the fattiest organ in our entire body, and it needs fatty acids to function. All right, so quick activity for you guys. So on your table, what you're going to find is a handout here. A couple questions as well as some fill in the blanks. And what I want you guys to do is work together with members at your table to answer these questions. If you guys need any assistance throughout this activity, just raise your hand and we'll be over to check on you guys and answer any questions you may have. So take a few minutes, work together, and then we'll check back in and go over these answers. All right, so looks like you guys are all wrapped up. So let's jump into question number 1. Does fat add flavor and texture to food? A, yes. B, no. And it's going to be yes. So we talked about how, for example, our croissant has a great buttery flavor as well as that flaky texture because that main ingredient is going to be butter, which is a source of fat. And then number 2, does fat protect vital organs in the body? Yes or no? And we're going to choose yes for that one. So we talked about how fat lives under our skin, and we're going to find that throughout our body, particularly in that abdominal area where a lot of our vital organs are going to live. And then 3, is fat a long-term energy storage or short-term? And we're going to choose A on that one. So we talked about in the very beginning how fat was a long-term energy storage, and that's going to be its main function for our body. And then number 4, healthy fat. Does it A, does not contribute to heart disease, B, unclog blood vessels, or is it both A and B? Which it's going to be both A and B. So heart-healthy fats do not contribute to heart disease, and those heart-healthy fats are also going to promote great blood flow by unclogging our blood vessels. And then lastly, can you guys tell me 3 benefits of fats? And you guys might have a variety of different answers, and those might be brain function, absorbing vitamins, protecting our organs, helping our bodies grow, hormone function, and regulating our body temperature. Great job, guys. So we're going to move on to our next section. So we know what fats are, how they benefit our body, but let's chat about where we can find those in food. So food sources of fat. So can you guys tell me if you know anything about heart-healthy fats? Maybe what those foods are, or maybe foods that are not considered heart-healthy. Did you guys know that there's a difference between the two? All right, so what y'all will notice here is a nutrition fact sheet. So have you guys ever seen a nutrition label? I'm sure you have, maybe walking around the grocery store and your pantry at home. And what you'll find on there is macronutrients that we've discussed before, so proteins, carbohydrates, but in our fat, it looks a little bit different. So in this highlighted area, what do you guys notice? Right, there's a couple different categories. Well, the reason for that is that not all fats are created equal. So there's going to be different types of fats within the foods that we consume. And those different types are going to be saturated fats, unsaturated fats, and lastly, trans fats. So let's dive in and break those down even more. So our first one here, saturated fats. So these types of fats are going to increase our blood cholesterol, so our bad cholesterol, and lower our good cholesterol. You'll want to use these types of fats sparingly. So what you'll find saturated fats in are foods like the fattier cuts of beef, pork, or lamb, dark meat poultry, so maybe the dark chicken rather than the white meat chicken, whole milk, so 2% or skim, you won't find nearly as many saturated fats, but whole milk more so, butter, cheese, sour cream, and even our beloved ice cream is going to have saturated fats. While these are okay to consume, this is something we want to just use sparingly because it does have a negative impact on our cholesterol. And next are our unsaturated fats. So these are what you'll commonly hear as heart-healthy fats. So by consuming these types of fats, what you're going to do is lower that bad cholesterol and increase your good cholesterol, reducing your risk of heart disease. So these are broken down into two different categories, monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats. Both considered heart healthy, just found in different sources. So monounsaturated fats, you'll find those in nuts such as almonds, cashews, peanuts, and different types of vegetable oils, so like olive oil, peanut oil, as well as peanut and almond butter. So if one of your favorite snacks like mine is a PB&J, eating the peanut butter in that is going to give you a great source of monounsaturated fats, as well as avocados. And then next, from our heart-healthy fats, is going to be polyunsaturated fats. So you'll find this source in fish, such as salmon or trout, flaxseed, walnuts, tofu, or soybeans. If you like a more plant-based diet or you're vegetarian, you might have tried tofu or soybeans before. You'll find it in seeds such as sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds, and then other vegetable oils such as sunflower or safflower oil. And our next fat category is trans fat. So trans fat is a type of fat that is processed. And during that processing, and consuming that, we are going to raise our bad cholesterol and we're going to lower our good cholesterol, putting us even more so at risk for heart disease, diabetes, and even stroke later in life. So it's really important that we limit our consumption of trans fats to less than 2 grams a day or none at all. So where is trans fat going to be found? So we'll find trans fat in foods such as fried foods. So if you think maybe French fries or chicken strips, that oil that the food is prepared in contains trans fats. And then fast food, as well as margarine, which is similar to butter, but the processed version of that. Processed baked goods, such as those snacked cookies or snack pastries, as well as crackers, microwave popcorn, and even frozen pizza. You'll typically find a lot of trans fats in those. So we want to make sure that we avoid consumption of those at all costs or keep it to an extreme minimal. So let's just recap those types of fats. So we've got two different categories. We have heart healthy, and then the other types of fats we want to limit our intake of. So our heart healthy fats are going to be broken down into unsaturated fats, mono and poly. These are going to reduce our risk of heart disease by lowering our blood cholesterol and increasing our good cholesterol. And then we want to limit the intake of saturated fats, so those fattier meats, cheese, whole milk, ice cream. While those things are okay to consume, we want to make sure that we just use those sparingly. And we want to avoid our consumption of trans fats because of that increased risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. All right, so quick activity for everybody. So what you'll find on your table is a little bag here full of different pictures of different foods that we've talked about. So we've got chicken here, we have got avocados, red meat, so different types of things that you would find that contain fat. But what I want you to do at your table with your partners is determine which sources are considered heart healthy and which ones are not heart healthy, the ones that we want to limit our intake of. So I'll give you guys a few minutes, work with your team members. If you guys get stuck or have any questions, raise your hand and then we'll be by to check on you and help you guys if you need us. All right, so looks like we have wrapped up. You guys are looking really good with your activities. So everything should look pretty similar to this here. So we have our heart healthy and our not heart healthy. And what we'll see is that within our not heart healthy group, we'll find things like chips and French fries, and maybe the red meat and ice cream. So those things we want to consume sparingly. And then we've got our heart healthy here with things like oil, nut butters, avocado. So as a group, could you guys tell me 3 foods that are considered heart healthy? Yeah, so we've got almonds, we've got olive oil, and how about salmon? Yeah, so all of those are considered heart healthy, going to promote the risk of heart disease from going down and making sure that our good cholesterol is rising, bad cholesterol is going down. All right. So we've wrapped up our unit on fats. We've talked about how fats are going to be important for our body's function, as well as where we can find them. So macronutrients are over, but let's talk about that other component that is really important for overall health, which is going to be water. So can you guys tell me how much water is in our body? It's going to be 70%. So 70% of our body is made up of water. So we can find water in our brain, our lungs, our muscles, all over. So it's important that we make sure that we consume enough so those areas in our body are functioning appropriately. So what exactly is water? So we know when we turn on our faucet, water is going to come out. We drink water throughout the day. We see it all the time, but what exactly is it? So as you probably see in future science classes, you'll see that water is made up of oxygen here in the middle and 2 hydrogen. It's transparent, it's odorless, colorless. You'll also find that when you look at the Earth is majority water. So when you see that green and that blue, we see most of the blue. And as well as water coming in different forms, it comes in that liquid like we noticed most of the time, but also as a solid. So when you think of like ice, and then as a gas. So we know that we have to drink water all day, but how does it benefit our body? Why do we need it? So it's critical for keeping our bodies hydrated. Our blood is actually made up of 85% water. So when we've seen blood before, what do we notice about its consistency? Is it a solid? Is it a liquid? Right, it's a liquid. So it's made up of primarily water. So that helps deliver oxygen throughout our body so our organs can function. It helps regulate our body temperature, similar to what fat has done. And it helps maintain our blood pressure. It flushes out waste and toxins in our body. And then lastly, our cells are made up of mainly water. So water is going to help dissolve minerals and nutrients throughout the body and help push them through towards the organs that they need to function. And then looking at this diagram here, every single organ that is mentioned needs water to function. So looking at this here, let's choose our heart. So why do we think that water would be important for our heart's function? So what it's going to do is our heart is going to help pump that blood throughout our body, and we need that water to put blood through our body towards the heart and the rest of the organs, as well as our skin, which is our biggest organ on our entire body. We need water to make sure our skin is hydrated. So if you've ever felt like your skin is more on the drier side, consuming water would help replenish the skin's hydration. And then let's say our kidneys here. So our kidneys' main job is to help flush out those toxins in our body. We need that water to help assist the kidneys push those toxins out. And then lastly, while it's not an organ, but our joints, we've got them everywhere throughout our body. Water helps lubricate our joints, making our mobility a little more easy and a little less pressure on our joints. So hydration. What exactly is hydration? Well, it's when water is able to be absorbed in our body. So every day we take in water by drinking and eating. It helps improve our overall wellness and Good hydration is associated with great energy levels, it helps in successful physical activity, and it helps with our concentration and focus. So our body needs water to survive. And different ways to know if you're well hydrated, along with having good energy and great physical activity, is when you use the restroom, noticing the color of your urine. If it's more of that pale yellow, you've got appropriate hydration. Whereas the opposite, or dehydration, and that's going to mean that more water is leaving your body than your body is intaking. So we need to make sure that we keep that balance equal. So your body can lose water through sweating, through breathing, and going to the bathroom. So if we don't have enough water and we're experiencing hydration, we might notice that we have headaches, we're nauseous, we might even feel a little bit tired. And if we do go to the restroom, if we're able to, so sometimes we might not be hydrated enough to actually use the restroom. But if we do, we'll notice that our urine is much darker than normal, our mouth is dry, we have extreme thirst, so you're really, really thirsty. You might even be a little dizzy or disoriented. And if you do cry, you might not have enough water to actually make tears. So what we need to do is keep in mind that drinking water is going to help us with physical activity. It's going to help us be energized. So if we are going to be outside playing and running, we want to make sure that we drink enough water beforehand and also rehydrating during activity as well as after. So drinking water is one of the most important ways to achieve overall health. If you are playing sports or if you become sick, we want to make sure that we're staying hydrated throughout, as well as making sure we choose water over different types of drinks. So if we're drinking soda or fruit juice or even sports drinks like Gatorade or Powerade, we might not be as hydrated if we were to just choose plain water. So how much water should you drink? So depending on your age, there's different water recommendations. So if you are 5 years old, we recommend 5 glasses of water. If you are 9 to 12 years old, we recommend 7 glasses of water. And then as you become an adult and you want to consume more water to help support your activity as well as your body size, you want to drink about 8 to 10 glasses of water, or a total of 2 liters. So that might seem a little bit overwhelming, or you feel like you're drinking water all day. You might lose count of how many glasses. The easiest way to do that is grabbing a water bottle. Having that reusable water bottle with you from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, refilling it throughout the day, will help ensure that you're achieving overall hydration and drinking enough water throughout the day. All right, so let's do a little visual activity here. So when you guys look at this picture here, what can you guys tell me? What does it look like? Yeah, so it looks a little dry, a little lifeless, doesn't really stand tall and bold like most plants do. What about this one? Much different. So it's got great color, it's bright, it looks hydrated, it's standing tall. Now, what do you think the difference is from this plant to this plant? Right, it was watered. It had enough hydration. Now, what do you think if we gave this plant here maybe soda or fruit juice? Do you think that it would grow into this plant here? Probably not. So I want you guys to think of this plant here as a human, as you, as me. We're tired, we have no energy, we're thirsty. What's the first thing you're going to grab to hydrate it? You want to grab water. I want you guys to think of yourselves as the same way. If you're outside playing, you're running, maybe you don't feel as well, let's choose water over something that might be a little bit higher in sugar, maybe a little bit higher in juice. Plain water is going to help us achieve that overall health, as well as brightness, hydration, energy, focus. Water is going to help us, along with other macronutrients, achieve the best health that we can get. So what I want you guys to do is take the last handout we have on your table here, and it's a little questionnaire just to go over what we know about water so far. So we talked about what water is and the benefits of our body. So as you go through, I want you guys to circle or highlight the correct answer of how water benefits our body. We'll give you guys a couple minutes. You can work together as a group or individually. If you have questions, just go ahead and raise your hand. We'll come over and check on you guys. If you get done with your activities before the rest of your team, we do have a little crossword puzzle over today's lesson to fill your time until we're ready to get back together and go over our answers. All right, so let's double check our answers here. So we're going to circle the answers of water and how it benefits our body. So our first one, does our body use water to regulate temperatures? Yes, it does. And blood, or does water make up 85% of our blood? Yes. Does water make our hair grow faster? Not quite. So that one's going to be a no. Does water help our brain? Yeah, it helps with focus, concentration, energy. Does water make you sleepy? It actually does the opposite. And does water help our skin? Yes, so water is going to help that overall hydration for our skin. Water also helps our body flush out wastes and toxins. And unfortunately, water does not help us swim better. Alrighty, so we have wrapped up our lesson on water. And let's just take a few minutes to reflect on the entire lesson for today. So talking about fats, talking about where they come from, and talking about water. So each of you have a piece of paper provided on your table, and what we want you to do is list 3 benefits of fat for your body and 3 benefits of water for your body. When you're done, we're going to ask you guys to share those with a partner, and then after that, we are going to share with a group. All right, so what we're going to do is go table to table. I want you guys to tell me 1 fat benefit and 1 water benefit. So those answers are going to vary. So you're going to find answers from fat, like it's going to help keep us warm, it's going to help with brain function, it's going to help protect our organs, and then even with water, it's going to help with energy, overall hydration, it's going to help us grow big and strong like those plants and stand tall and energized. It's going to help us with physical activity so we can endure that physical activity while playing outside or playing sports. All right, and the very last thing is we want to leave you guys with a gift. So we talked about how to put this information into practice, like drinking water throughout the day or choosing heart-healthy fat snacks. So first thing is we have a recipe card for you. So this is a recipe for trail mix, and one of the major components of this recipe is nuts, which we determined are going to be a heart-healthy fat, great crunch, so they provide texture, and great flavor as well. And then lastly, a reusable water bottle to take home. So we know that we need to remain hydrated all day, so we're going to fill up that water bottle from the time we wake up in the morning all day long until the time we go to bed. All right, guys, well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your attention. We hope that you gained a lot from today's lesson and you're able to take some of this information, put it into your daily nutrition and hydration practices, and share it with your family and friends. Thank you.